the Saturn is one of the most beautiful planets in our solar system because of its unique rings. Now the question is, have you ever wondered why such rings are observed around the Saturn? So that is what we are going to discuss in today's video. So let's start. So the rings around Saturn are one of the most beautiful and mysterious features, as I have already mentioned, in our solar system. And why do they exist? They exist mainly because of gravity, collision and unique conditions around the planet Saturn. Now the question is, what are these rings made of? They are made of particles which may be as small as tiny grains or chunks which can be as big as mountains, and they are mainly made up of water ice mixed with dust and rock. Okay, so now before we really learn about the theories for which the rings are observed around the Saturn, let us learn about one particular concept which is called the Roche limit. So what is the Roche limit? It is the distance, okay, within which a celestial body held together only by its own gravity will disintegrate due to tidal forces exerted by much larger celestial bodies such as a planet or a star. Okay, so if the Roche limit, the distance is within a certain limit, then the planet's gravitational pull, okay, planet or star which will be much larger than this particular celestial body, then if the Roche limit is within a distance, okay, so then the planet will not be able to disintegrate the celestial body. But if the satellite or any other object crosses the Roche limit, okay, then what will happen? The tidal forces. What are the tidal forces? Nothing but gravitational pull or gravitational force from the larger body. In this case, Saturn is certainly the thing. The larger body will exert such a huge gravitational pull on the smaller celestial body that the smaller celestial body's internal gravity will not be enough and it will disintegrate or break into pieces. So that is the Roche limit. Okay, so the Roche limit concept is important to understand the origin of the rings. So origin of the rings, that is what we are going to learn now. So one theory is the destroyed moon theory. What is the destroyed moon theory? A moon or an icy body may have wandered too close to the Saturn. So why are you calling icy body? Because the Saturn is very far away from the sun, therefore it is a very cold planet. Okay, and the atmosphere around the Saturn is also, the area around the Saturn is also very cold. So a icy body may have wandered too close to the Saturn, and then what might have happened? Due to Saturn's very strong gravity, okay, that particular body might have been ripped apart by Saturn's very strong gravitational force. Okay, and this happens, we have already discussed, when tidal forces exerted by the Saturn become much stronger than the objects or this particular moon or large icy bodies on gravity. Okay, so one thing to mention here, that the Saturn is 95 times as massive as the Earth. Can you imagine? 95 times. Therefore the gravitational pull exerted by the Saturn will also be very huge. Okay, the Saturn is mainly gaseous. Okay, it is made up of hydrogen and helium predominantly, but it has a strong core of elements like iron and nickel. Okay, leftover material theory, that is another theory. So the rings of Saturn could be leftover debris from the early solar system. Okay, leftover debris from the solar system that never formed a moon because of the Saturn's strong gravitational pull. Okay, Saturn's gravitational pull once again is so strong that the debris which could have been there from early solar system, that could not coalesce to form a moon, because the Saturn's gravitational pull will always rip those debris apart, or the debris will always be kept separate or will be blocked from forming a moon. Okay, that is due to Saturn's strong gravitational pull. Okay, so now the question is, why do we observe them as rings, or what is the reason behind we have learned why rings could have been formed, but the rings must be stable. Okay, and that is why we observe the rings. So what's the reason behind the stability of the rings? Tidal forces and Roche limit. Okay, objects inside the Roche limit cannot combine to form the larger moons because Saturn's gravity is too strong. Okay, So Saturn's gravity is, once again, the main reason is the gravitational pull exerted by Saturn. Okay, objects inside the Roche limit, they cannot combine to form a moon. Okay, and that is why instead of a moon means what? A natural satellite. We can get to see that particles are there, and they may be small particles, they may be as huge as mountains. So they remain as separate particles and they form a ring instead of coalescing into a satellite. And orbital stability is another reason for the stability of the rings. The particles in the rings orbit Saturn in a stable configuration. Okay, the particles, they orbit the Saturn in a stable configuration, and the planet's gravity, once again, everything is about the gravity of the Saturn. The planet's gravity keep them in a flattened thin disk. Okay, that is why the rings are stable in their own places. So now another question may arise, which is how old are the rings? Okay, some scientists say that they were formed recently. Recently means, again, as compared to a solar system, 100 million years is still not much. It's still a huge time, very huge timeline. But if we consider the birth of our solar system, it is around 4.5 billion years. Okay, but other scientists believe that they are as old as our solar system. So when our solar system was formed, the rings around the Saturn were also formed. So now again the question is, are there rings only in the Saturn, only around the Saturn? What about other planets? Other planets also have rings. It is not like that the rings are only unique to Saturn. Like Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, they also have rings, but they are much fainter or they are not visible. Okay, for Saturn the rings are visible, but for other huge planets, okay, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, etc., the rings are not that visible, but they do exist. So friends, this is what we had to discuss today. So rings are because of strong gravitational pull of Saturn, which tear any celestial body or any moon which could have been there earlier, capturing ice and rocky debris, and they are quite stable in their orbit. They are bright and they are observed as structured bands due to the strong gravitational pull of the Saturn, and that is why we can get to see such beautiful rings around the Saturn. So friends, I hope this video was useful. If you have liked, please like the video. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. I will soon see you in another such interesting video. Thank you very much.